much for joining me today at Tiny Barn Farm. My name is Jennifer, and today I wanted to share with you a really exciting thing that happened on the farm today. One of the local wildlife sanctuaries put a call out on Facebook requesting release sites for some of their wildlife that they had rescued. We jumped at the opportunity to offer our land. So we have over 100 acres here. And we just thought, you know what, we've got ponds and forest and streams and open spaces and a lot of a pretty healthy ecosystem here. We see all kinds of wildlife here. And we just thought, you know what, this place is perfect. So we can totally accept some wildlife on this property. So I reached out to them and they did an assessment of our property and they said that it was just perfect for a release site. So we were really excited to hear that and to offer these little critters who were orphaned as babies and now they've been cared for over the summer and we can offer them a home here, which was kind of heartwarming. They asked if there were any animals that I wouldn't accept on my property. Now, since I'm a lover of all wildlife, I absolutely do not discriminate. So any animals would be welcome here. And so they called us back and they said, well, do you mind if we bring some raccoons and skunks to your property? They're teenagers now. They were orphaned as little babies and they've been cared for over the last few months. And I said, absolutely, of course, you can bring skunks and raccoons here. What I did is I indicated some separate locations. So there are 9 raccoons. So we split them into 2 groups and there are 5 skunks that were going to be released here. So I mapped out 3 different, very separate locations with water nearby each of them so that they can have a drink and they would be separate from each other and they can just find little homes and burrows that they could start to figure out what they're going to do for the winter. So yeah, they came this morning and they tend to release animals back into the wild before mid-October, before it starts to get cold at night. Now we've very fortunately had wonderful weather this fall so far. So it's now October 3rd, I believe. And the nights have been fine. They haven't been too cool and we haven't had a lot of rain. So they really wanted to wait for a nice, sunny, warm day to bring them out and then bring them out early enough in the day that they had the entire day and evening to find shelter before overnight. Tonight is going to get to about 10 degrees, so it's not too cold for them, but the rescue feels that they feel confident enough that these little critters would be able to find some kind of shelter before nightfall. Now we have a pretty wild environment here. Now, of course, predators are always a risk, but it's just kind of part of what wildlife is. That's the cycle. But they feel that these little critters would be able to stay undercover in the woods and find some shelter and hopefully live a nice long life here. I was super excited to have them show up here and they did. And so I'm going to share with you some footage that I took of the release of all these beautiful creatures. But first, I want to show you absolutely spectacular sunrise from a few days ago. And it was just this gorgeous misty morning. So I wanted to share that with you and then we'll get into releasing the first 4 raccoons. So the first release of the 4 raccoons went really well. They were pretty nervous at first because they had just gotten out of a pretty bouncy truck ride, but overall they eventually kind of went on their way, and it was pretty sweet to watch them just go out into the woods, and they all follow each other, which is pretty great. Now, raccoons tend to eventually go their separate ways. So they don't tend to travel that much in groups. I mean, they'll travel in family units, but eventually they'll kind of form smaller groups and then they'll just kind of do their thing. Now, I don't know if they were males or females. I'm imagining it was a mix. Each raccoon had its own crate, and they also tie them, they seal the doors with zip ties. I guess because raccoons have little fingers and they're quite crafty. So rather than having them escape in the truck en route, they wanted to make sure that they were safe. So they zip tied the doors shut. And then when they go to release them, they cut the zip ties and let them out. And they're pretty good. They just kind of run out of the crate. They're a little curious. They'll sniff around but yeah, pretty amazing to watch them head out into the woods. And where we release them, there's like an open area in front of them. There's a lot of forested and some wetlands in there. So, and I've been told that they love water, so they don't have a problem finding it, but we did make sure there was some marshy areas nearby. And then across from the clearing, there's a very large pond. So they would be able to find that quite efficiently. So next we're gonna get into releasing the skunks. Now, my first question, and I'm sure all of your first question is, well, aren't they going to spray? Like, what? How do you even imagine transporting these skunks up? And so they do spray. So I think because they're younger skunks, they're kind of teenage age right now. Their sprays aren't as crazy as an adult skunk. However, en route, they actually transport them in an old pickup truck, like in the back, and it's open. So they did, because they're nervous and scared in their crates, they do spray on the way. So by the time they arrived here, there was like a slight scent of skunk, but for the most part, all the spraying was done and over with. So we had very little risk of getting sprayed. Now, there's still a risk because there's a chance that some of the skunks didn't spray. So I think they only have like one spray available at a time. So we wanted to just make sure that we didn't get sprayed. So what we did is, when we were carrying them and when we were releasing them, we kept all noise down to a very quiet whisper, just to not spook them in any way, and really just very gently open the doors and release them. Now, they didn't have to zip tie these doors. They're not as crafty as raccoons. So, and I've also been told that skunks are the most gentle and sweetest animals ever. So that was really heartwarming to hear that they're just like so kind and so gentle, and their eyesight isn't very good. So I guess that's why they have such an amazing defense of like the skunk spray. Also, they take longer to release. So when you open the doors, sometimes it'll take them like half an hour to actually get out of the crate. I think they're just really timid. These ones weren't too bad. They actually walked out, within a few minutes. And yeah, one of them just started walking right towards us, which was pretty amazing. They're beautiful too. All their patterns are different. So that was really interesting. That was something that I didn't know. And right away, a couple of them already started foraging for little bugs. They eat a lot of bugs and things like that. So they're not going to have a problem feeding themselves. And they're also near a little bit of water. They're not as... they don't need as water or love water as much as raccoons do. But yeah, still, obviously all animals need water. So there are some wetlands nearby in that location. And yeah, it was quite a pleasure seeing those critters getting released. And they just went off into the woods and they all followed each other, which was pretty amazing. So here's the footage that I took when we released our little skunks. so beautiful too. Just amazing. Lots of bugs here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Do they tend to travel together?
They'll split. They'll all split up. They're the animals that stay together, especially this age. They usually have family groups, but now this is the age where they're actually dispersing.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go find, and skunks are nomadic, so they're not gonna stay in an area. They just constantly travel.
Oh, I see. Another thing I learned about skunks is that they tend to remain in family groups while they're young. But when they get to this age, which now they're teenagers, they will actually split up. They're nomadic. So unlike raccoons who tend to pretty much stay in the area, skunks actually will keep traveling. So they're little travelers. They'll just keep going. And thankfully, we've got a lot of wild and large properties around this area, and a lot of them don't have anything on them. They're just wooded. So skunks will tend to just keep going. So we don't have to worry about having like a massive population of skunks here. Good luck, little raccoons. Oh, there's one right here. What are you doing? There's lots of bugs here and rodents. I think they're already heading right to the creek. Yeah. Oh yeah, there they go. Well, that second release of the raccoons went really well as well. I mean, the one that climbed the tree was so funny. Like just right away, he just, it's like, I'm going to climb this tree, but I want to follow my friends, but I'm going to climb this tree anyway. Anyway, that was just really, really amazing to see. But at the end, they all just ran to to the creek. So yeah, what an amazing experience this has been. I'm hoping to stay on their list of wildlife releases because the women that came up said that this would be a really great spot to release foxes in the future. So what we'll do is we'll stay on a list, and then every year we'll have some kind of critters released here, and I imagine they rotate through the different species, and they even release moose and bear and the larger ones as well. So yeah, interesting and exciting things to come, but today was just such a incredibly rewarding and fulfilling experience. And I just feel so blessed that we could offer a wild place for these beautiful creatures to live their wildest lives. And I know that it could be dangerous out there for them because we have coyotes and wolves and, bald eagles and all kinds of larger predators here. But at the end of the day, to know that they're living as they should be out in the wild and they're living their happiest lives, then to me, that makes it all worth it. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. And I will see you next week with probably another adventure here at Tiny Barn Farm. Have a wonderful week and take care. Bye-bye.